Hey guys, this is Sam Geek, and today I'm going to be talking about the Rock Candy Wii Remote by PDP. And I gotta say, it's actually a pretty well-made third-party controller, and I'm kind of surprised because I bought it and then I remembered that at E3 and CES and all these other places, like these conventions I go to, a lot of these companies that don't really focus on games, but maybe like make it like Turtle Beach, for instance, they would use Rock Candy controllers because they were very, very cheap. And if you have controllers at a convention, they're not going to last that long. And you know, I've used the PS3 one a million times, and it was always, always, always broken. But the Wii version is actually really well done. I'm actually surprised. And the reason I decided to pick it up is because I was watching some reviews on YouTube, and I'll link a good one here. And I'll put it in the annotations. And I was actually really surprised at how well done it was. And it looked pretty good, so I decided to pick it up from GameStop because that's the only Wii remote they have besides the regular one. And anyone who pays $30+ for a used Wii remote, especially since a lot of them are really dirty. I don't know what people use their Wii remotes for, but I don't know how they get that dirty. I decided, you know what, I'd rather take the chance with a third-party controller than buy a dirty, used first-party one. And there's a lot of things I like about it and a lot of things I don't. Like, when it comes to the button placement, it's different. I actually like this horizontal way because it reminds me of the Super Nintendo. And when I'm playing an NES game, it feels a lot more natural to me to have that, the 2 being the A button and the 1 being the B button. It feels like I'm playing a Super Nintendo game. And I really like that because I've never liked the straightforwardness of the regular Wii Remote. This one, I never really enjoyed that. I felt like it kind of got in the way, and I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. I've been used to Xbox, PlayStation, the regular DS, the 3DS, the Wii U gamepad, the classic controller Pro, where even that's the case on that as well, where it's set up that way, and I would prefer it that way. So I decided to get it because I've always needed to complete my set of Wii remotes. I have 3 of them, and I decided that this wouldn't be a bad fourth. And I'm having a party tomorrow. Might as well get another Wii remote so that we could play Mario or something. And I only have a lot. I have a lot of complaints actually. Nothing too like. I would not recommend this as a main controller, but as a regular, cheap controller that you want to buy for a party or something that'll last you a long time as a guest controller, it works really well. But as a main controller, here are my gripes. The B button feels really weird. It feels cheap and it feels like it's going to break. The controller itself has this weird, cheap gloss to it. It feels almost like a plastic container. The sides of the controller aren't really well rounded off. They're kind of sharp, but not sharp enough to scratch you or anything, but sharp enough to know that, it's kind of cheap, and it doesn't feel that good in your hands. The other thing is that they use that same gloss on the D-pad, so when I'm playing an NES game with it, my thumb tends to slip off of it. The strap also doesn't feel really well made. It feels very cheap, and I had a really difficult time getting it through the little hole on the bottom. I had to actually use a needle to pull it out. And the only other complaint I have is that when I'm pointing it at the screen, it kind of tilts to the right a little bit. It's not 100% in the center, and I haven't been able to get it that way. Whereas all 3 of my other Wii remotes, they all work. They actually work in the center. And it proved problematic when I tried using it for Wii bowling, because what normally I would get strikes on the regular Wii remotes, I would have to adjust to the knowing that this slightly tilts to the right in order to get them. I ended up getting a 300 game eventually using it, so it's not impossible. It's not that bad, but it has a learning curve to it, and it's kind of annoying. Other than that, it's a pretty good controller. I actually like where the plus and minuses are placed, and I like that they're not sticking out buttons. And it makes it a lot easier to pause a game during when you're playing like a virtual console game on when it's horizontal. However, it does prove difficult when you're trying to select the home button during regular play, because you have to go all the way up here and have to adjust your hand to do that. But with the plus and minus, it's actually a lot easier, and I like that. But also, the button arrangement, as much as I like it for horizontal play, for vertical play, it can be kind of daunting. However, it's a really good controller, especially for what I'm going to use it for, which is 90% of the time plugging a classic controller into it, or someone playing Mario. And for playing Mario, it's actually really well built. And, you know, I have no real complaints about it. I wouldn't say that it's not worth buying, especially for the price. It's $15. I mean, for $15, you could buy it and for a party. And even if it doesn't last the party, it was still kind of worth it. It wasn't $40. It wasn't a huge investment like one of these was. And especially if you have a kid or something and you're afraid of him breaking a $40 thing, $15 isn't that bad. And it's nice and colorful, and it has that translucent. It kind of looks like something from the '90s, but still not as awesome. But it's not bad at all. I give it a 7 out of 10. If you really want an extra Wii remote, I wouldn't advise not picking. I wouldn't advise against picking this up. It's pretty cheap, but there was no other colors besides pink. So if that's something that you don't like, that you may want to consider another controller. I mean, there may be other colors other places, but the only one at my Walmart and at my GameStop was pink. So deal with it. Sam out.